الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وعظيمنا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه الغر الميامين. الحمد لله الذي جعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية سيدي ومولاي علي بن أبي طالب. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. أما بعد، يقول الله في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. The first of our salawat in honor of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The second in honor of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The third with your loudest voices in honor of the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Respected scholars, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. The discussion concerning black magic and witchcraft is one of the most intriguing and fascinating discussions in Islamic thought, and a discussion which is seen also as being one of the most controversial discussions in Islamic ethics. A discussion which requires a thorough analysis, for it is a discussion which affects the lives of many Muslims in the world today. A discussion from which many fascinating lessons may be learnt and many important stands may be derived. And a discussion with a historical base and a contemporary significance. Many times in Muslim communities today, the members of the community ask the question as to the amount of the effect of magic on the life of the human being, especially the amount of the effect of black magic, sorcery and witchcraft on an individual's well-being, both spiritual as well as physical. As in many times we hear stories of the fact that a curse had been placed on a particular personality, or a particular couple, or indeed a particular family. And you find that there are certain countries in the world today which are renowned for placing curses or sorcery on individuals. As in there are certain places around in the world today where you could still go and ask someone to place a piece of black magic or sorcery on an individual. And indeed you find that sometimes people reply by saying that there is no effect of magic, sorcery or witchcraft on anyone, that this is just a myth. Whereas you find in the Quran the word magic and its derivatives are mentioned on 51 occasions. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about magic on 51 occasions, it highlights that magic is a reality in the life of the human being. How the human being uses magic varies from one human to the other. Yet if you were to dissect the stories of Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam, if you dissect the story of Prophet Musa alayhi salam, you will find the effect of magic was not just an illusion, but was rather a reality in the lives of different parts of society. And that's why I remember Shaykh al-Baha'i, may Allah bless his soul, Shaykh al-Baha'i used to say that there have been great books on magic and that he had not seen a better book than the book which was called Kul Ihsar. Kul Ihsar, he used to say, is the best book which has been written on the sciences of magic. And he said that there are 5 different sciences in magic which have affected the lives of the human being. For example, the science of, he used it as an acronym, the science of Kimia, and the science of Limia, and the science of Hemia, and the science of Simia, and the science of Rimia. Shaykh al-Baha'i said if you were to divide the magical sciences, they are 5. Because someone asked the question, what do you mean when you say magic or black magic has an effect? Sheikh al-Bahai says that one type of magical science which they use is where they use numerology and letters. Different numbers and different letters have different roles in society. Likewise, he said, a second type of magic which is used is the magic where you invoke the name of a jinn. That there are certain people who will invoke the name of a particular jinn. They want access to the world of the jinn. They know that the Quran mentions the world of the jinn, and so therefore they ask the world of the jinn to come and speak to them. Then there's a third type of science where you don't invoke the world of the jinn, you invoke the world of the angels. You know that there are certain angels which are very close to us, are present around us. So you find means in which you use the name of that angel in order that you're able to affect the life of another human being. Then there's another type of magic where you actually try and get a piece from the body of the human being. You'll try and get a hair from the human being, or you try, for example, and get some clothing from the human being, and then upon that clothing something is recited. You therefore find that the last of these magical sciences is the one which is discussed where a certain element is used, a certain natural element is used against the human being to inflict some sort of pain amongst them. In other words, you find within Islamic tradition, if you were to read the Quran 51 times, the word magic is mentioned. If you were to read the world of literature, not only do you have books like this, if you were to read Al-Wasail, or you were to read Al-Makasib, there are whole chapters about the hadiths of the Imams of Ahlul Bayt discussing magic. As in our 5th and 6th Imam have hundreds of hadith about magic and the effect of magic and the effect of witchcraft. When we realize this, what does it mean? It means that we have to beware in our communities, either of the day that we think of using magic and witchcraft against someone, or of the fact that magic and witchcraft may be used against us. That this is a possibility and a reality according to the Quran. And that's why you do find certain people in Muslim communities, when they are unhappy that certain people have found happiness, or they don't want someone to find happiness, they will actually travel far and wide to ask someone in the middle of a village, in the middle of nowhere, to help them. And that's why the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa Muhammad, himself clearly states, whoever listens to the magicians, whoever walks to the magicians, whoever believes in the magicians, becomes a disbeliever in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because one of the acts that seeks to nullify Allah's power is magic. With a magician, the moment you see the way he works, you begin to ask yourself, isn't this person so powerful? Aren't they so holy? You start forgetting God. What begins to happen is your whole focus is on that particular person. If I still remember until today that a few years ago when this David Blaine was doing certain acts, the number of emails I received that said, Ammar, could this be a prophet? Could this be a this? Could this be a that? You found that many people straight away forgot the position of God. When they saw the human performing illusory effects, straight away, what did they say? They said that this person must be inspired, he must have a certain power. Can the human being therefore reach the power of the unseen? Yes, they can. Can the human being delve into the unseen? Yes, they can. But the way they perceive themselves at the end of this delving can sometimes raise them into thinking they are more powerful than God if they believe God exists. Therefore tonight, let us dissect in depth the origin of black magic and witchcraft within the school of Ahlul Bayt, in order that we are able to understand what is the discussion within this area. And I'd like to do this in a number of stages. Number one, what do we mean when we say وَمِن شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ? Who were the Naffathat? Number two, and of the utmost importance, can this magic cause destruction between a husband and a wife? And if it can, which surah in the Quran showed that magic can destroy a husband and wife's relationship? Number three, and very importantly in this area, how does the story of Moses show us that there are two types of magic in this world? Number four, are we allowed to refer to the astrologers of astronomy And is what they say accepted within the traditions of Ahlul Bayt? Number 5, how do I make sure I protect myself from the black magic of the human being? And what are the advices that Amir al-Mu'mineen used to give? Number 6, after وَمِن شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ, why does Allah straight away say وَمِن شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ إِذَا حَسَدٍ? And what is the connection between the naffathat and the hasid? And finally, which verse in the Quran does Allah say they showed envy towards the family of Ibrahim? And in which manner did the lineage of Ibrahim receive envy from the people who lived alongside them? Let's dissect this whole topic in depth. When you come to reading Surah Al-Falaq, many times we don't ponder over the verses of this surah. You find that Surah Al-Falaq and Surah An-Nas are arguably the most important chapters within the Holy Quran, in the sense that in the Arabic language they are known as the Mu'awwadhatan. The Mu'awwadhatan, one of the derivatives of the word Mu'awwadhatan is the word ta'weez, or as some pronounce it as ta'weez. What's a ta'weez? A ta'weez is when you as a human being may seek protection from a certain entity or a certain enemy in life. Today you find when you ask someone, what are you wearing on your hand? Or what are you wearing around your wrist? They tell you it's a ta'weez or a ta'weez. Sometimes they wear it where? In the ring. Surah Al-Falaq and Surah An-Nas were called Al-Mu'awwadhatan. Al-Mu'awwadhatan means what? The 2 chapters that protect you from the internal and the external enemies in life. See, someone asked the question, what's the difference between Surah An-Nas and Surah Al-Falaq? One says, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ مَلِكِ النَّاسِ إِلَهِ النَّاسِ مِنْ شَرِّ. The other, for example, says, مِنْ شَرِّ. Why 2 separate surahs? Surah An-Nas, you ask Allah to protect you from the evils which may affect you internally. Surah Al-Falaq, you ask Allah to protect you from the evils that may affect you externally. Surah An-Nas, what do you say? قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ مَلِكِ النَّاسِ إِلَهِ النَّاسِ مِنْ شَرِّ الْوَسْوَاسِ الْخَنَّاسِ الَّذِي يُوَسْوِسُ فِي صُدُورِ النَّاسِ. In Surah An-Nas, I'm saying, Ya Allah, there's an enemy of mine I can't see out there. But one thing I know about him is that he whispers more than anyone in my life. I seek refuge from that enemy every day, because that enemy's words have affected me many times. Surah Al-Falaq differs from Surah An-Nas, but both of them are Mu'awwadhatan. Surah Al-Falaq, what is it? Surah Al-Falaq is saying, no, beware also of the open enemy which are external but which may affect you physically. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ مِنْ شَرِّ مَا خَلَقَ, from the evil that the creation possesses. وَمِنْ شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبْ. غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبْ is what? You know, there are certain creatures in the darkness of the night. Those creatures, you say, Ya Allah, protect me from them. It may be a thief in the darkness of the night. It may be an animal in the darkness of the night. Anytime there's darkness in the night, there's a fear in the human being, isn't it? As in, you don't know what could just suddenly pop up. You're in a forest in the darkness of the night. You're in a road in the darkness of the night. When you say, وَمِن شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبْ, you're saying, Ya Allah, protect me from those creatures of the darkness of the night. Then you say there's another category who I need protection from. وَمِن شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ. Who are the naffathat fil uqad? In the Arabic language, naffathat refers to those who blow on something. Uqad refers to a knot. A number of knots is uqad. You find in naffathat means a number of women who blow on a knot. Many times in our life we've recited this verse, haven't we, as Muslims? Do you agree that many times we've recited these verses? If you ask 70% of Muslims in the world today, what's naffathat fil uqad? Why? Because we as Muslims have a major problem. We don't reflect on what we're reading. Read like a parrot. You ask a Muslim, what are you reading? Have you ever thought this Quran is a book of guidance for you? No, I haven't. I've been told from a young age, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ مِنْ شَرِّ مَا خَلَقَ وَمِنْ شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبَ وَمِنْ شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ. What's وَمِنْ شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ? I don't know. It seems like a lovely ayah, but I'm not sure. When you look at a verse like this, it's a powerful verse referring to you, one of your main enemies in life. وَمِن شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ. What does it refer to? It refers to the fact that in Arabia, there was a group of women who actively wanted to attack the Holy Prophet, but from a way different from the way the men were attacking. You see, the Holy Prophet, when he achieved his success in Medina, many people began to be envious of his success. Many people were seeing Muhammad as a good-looking human being. Muhammad is a loved human being. People adore his akhlaq, his morals. People love his knowledge. People love to be around his mercy and his compassion. The Jews of Medina started to look at this, and they started to show hatred towards this. The Jews were looking at each other and they were saying, how comes this man is respected so much? I said, why does everyone love this man? Anywhere this man goes, people want to be around him. It's like a bee, where you find that everyone surrounds the honey. Everyone wants to be around this person. And of course, for the Jews, this was a problem, because for the Jews, what happened? The Jews were thinking, we want to be in charge in Medina, whereas this Muhammad is now taking all the power. What happened was, the Jews were thinking, what's the best way we can inflict pain on Muhammad? How can we make sure that pain is inflicted where his mission is destroyed? So what did they do? The Jews were very active in magic. There was a man by the name of Labid ibn A'sam. Labid ibn A'sam, the narrations tell us, he had a number of daughters. These daughters, what would they do? These daughters, in one narration it says, they had found a hair of the Prophet. When they had taken this hair of the Prophet, they tied the hair to a knot, and they made 11 knots, and they blew on each of these knots. When they blew on each of these knots, what was the aim? The aim was to say, kill Muhammad, burn Muhammad, finish Muhammad, let him die, let him suffer, let him see pain, let him see anguish. You see, this can happen even today, that you may find a woman even today, she is unhappy at the success of someone, or even a man, they are unhappy at the success of someone. What they may do is they may ask, get the hair of this person, or get me a piece of clothing of this person. As in, some people may think this is not true. There are certain countries which specialize in this, that what they will do is they will actually take a piece of you and they will then blow on it and they will say, kill him. If not kill him, let him find unhappiness. What they can even go on further in doing is they can focus their attention on a certain part of that person's body, in order that there's an effect even on that person's body. You found that these women, what would they do? The daughters of Labid would come on the knots and they'd blow. وَمِن شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ. Ya Allah, I seek refuge from you, from the blowers of the knots. The narration tells us that Jibreel came to the Prophet straight away. He said to him, Ya Rasulullah, these Jewish women, the daughters of Labid, they have all come together. What's their aim? Their aim is to get the knots. They've made 11 knots and they've blown on the knots in order to attack you physically. You find that as soon as the Prophet heard this, the Prophet called Ali ibn Abi Talib, he called Ammar ibn Yasir, he called Zubair. He said, all of you go towards the well near the tribe of Banu Dharwan. They said to him, what do you want us to do? He said, Ali, go to that well, remove all the water from the well. When you remove all the water from the well, at the bottom of the well you're going to find a rock. Remove that rock, but only you can have the power to remove it. It's right at the bottom of the well. When you remove the rock at the bottom of the well, look how much a person in black magic goes through just to have an effect on destroying someone's life. There are people who will travel thousands of miles to destroy someone's life. You find that what happened was that he came, Ali ibn Abi Talib came, he removed the rock. When he removed it at the bottom, what was there? The hair on a knot with 11 knots within it. At this moment, the Prophet had told Imam Ali, when you see these 11 knots, Jibreel has revealed to me to recite on each knot. If you look at Surah Al-Falaq and Surah An-Nas, if you remove Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim from them, one is 5 verses, the other is 6, isn't it? قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. Then the other one is قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. So 6 and 5 is how many? 11. So he came towards the knot with 11 knots on each one. قل أعوذ برب الناس, and he blew. ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. Then قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد. And I seek refuge, O Allah, from the ladies who are the blowers of the knots. On this area there's an interesting theological discussion. The discussion is, can Rasulullah be bewitched? This is an important theological point. Can a prophet of God be bewitched or no? Shaykh al-Tusi, amongst others, is of the opinion, like Allama al-Majlisi, that Rasulullah can never be bewitched. Why? Because then the Arabs who called him Mashhur, the man who's bewitched, then the Arabs are right that Muhammad can be bewitched. Allama al-Tabatabai says no. He says a prophet of God physically may be attacked by magic, but spiritually magic can never attack him. However, Allama al-Majlisi, in reconciling these viewpoints, what does he say? Allama al-Majlisi says that magic can be aimed at a prophet of God. As it's aimed, Allah inspires the prophet to read a protection so that that magic does not affect him. Therefore, when these ladies, because some people said, how could you say that the ladies can place magic on the prophet? Allah can't protect this prophet? No. They can place a magical spell on the prophet. But when it's about to attack, Allah reveals to Jibreel, go and tell Muhammad that I've revealed the following verses and that these verses will protect his nation from any attack of witchcraft. That's why you find the Holy Prophet used to always say, whenever you wake up in the morning and before you go to sleep, make sure you recite the Mu'awwadhatan. Because why? When I wake up in the morning, as I'm about to leave home, I'm about to go out and earn my rizq in this world, aren't I? I'm about to go out and earn my sustenance. There are people out there in the world who may have woken up and have looked at me on my way to work. They've seen my house as a nice house. They've seen my clothing as nice clothing. They've seen, for example, my car as a nice car. They may even see that my appearance is a healthy appearance. My wife is a beautiful wife. They may see all of this. This hurts them. How is it that that person is having all of this and I'm not? They may actually go as far as asking someone to put a spell, either through the jinn, or through the angels, or through, for example, the recital on someone's body part or on someone's clothing. Therefore, Rasulullah said, when you wake up in the morning, recite Surah Al-Falaq and Surah An-Nas. Then he said, when you go to sleep in the evening, recite the two of them. Why? How many times do you see the most vicious nightmare in the evening? Sometimes people say, you know what, the dreams that I saw were absurd. Sometimes dreams are adghath. They are all over the place. Sometimes dreams aren't just adghath. No, they are worse. They are something where there's an imagery which is horrid, which is horrific. One of the protectors from this is what? One of the protectors is Surah Al-Falaq and Surah An-Nas. That before you go to sleep in the night, don't just go to sleep. Subhanallah, you've got a few types of Muslims in the world today. You've got the one who goes to sleep listening to music. May Allah bless their spirituality, inshallah. You tell him, how much Quran do you know in your life? He's like, wallah, I don't get time to read Quran. You know, we're busy. And music? Wallah, he recites music like a parrot. He can tell you any tune, anytime. And you begin to wonder, on the Day of Judgment, you're proud to face Allah saying, I know more of this than this. That's one type of person who goes to sleep. Another type of person goes to sleep, doesn't recite anything. Then there's a third type of person. When they go to sleep, what do they recite? Surah Al-Falaq and Surah An-Nas, because it's a protector for them. Therefore, what did the ayah say? The ayah said that we should seek refuge from those people who indulge in black magic. Be it the voodoo, be it the Ouija board, be it just the focus of their energy. Because we know there's a reality to the unseen world, as in there's a reality to the unseen. Many Muslims today live only in the seen. There's a major reality to the unseen. What's the major reality? How many times you find there's a world of the sixth sense? You just think of something, You feel you have a sixth sense there and it actually happens. Is that physical or is that in the unseen? How many times do you have a deja vu moment in your life? Is that physical or is that unseen? How many times you meet someone for the first time, you don't even know who they are. For the first time you meet them, the vibe is unbelievable. Then you meet someone for the first time, you don't know who they are, but you feel something in you saying, I just don't like this person. The person's done nothing wrong to you. But in the world of the unseen, there's an energy that exists between human beings. Deja vu, the sixth sense, the vibe, that is all of us understanding that the world of the unseen is a reality. Someone, if they pose all their negative energy and they know the sciences of magic, can sit somewhere in Africa or somewhere in India and they will recite over your name. They'll blow on the knots like the Quran mentioned. When the Quran says, Ya Allah, I seek refuge min al-naffathati fil uqad. I seek refuge from those who blow on the knots. And we know the Quran is a book which guides us ethically until the day of judgment. That means until the day of judgment. From that time, there was always magic, witchcraft and sorcery. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us a sort of protection. That's why I remember Abu Hafs al-Haddad. Abu Hafs al-Haddad was one of the great Sufi saints in the era of Junayd al-Baghdadi. As in, if you go and study the Sufi masters, Abu Hafs al-Haddad, Junayd al-Baghdadi, these were great Sufi masters. Abu Hafs al-Haddad, do you know which incident made him religious? It was to do with black magic. Abu Hafs al-Haddad today in the Sufi world, amongst the names, Abdul Qadir al-Gaylani, Junayd al-Baghdadi, these great names of the Sufi world, amongst the names, Abu Hafs al-Haddad. He says, you know what made me religious? He said, I was enchanted by this beautiful lady. I wanted her so badly. And I was thinking to myself, how can I get her? What's the way she'd be enchanted when she looks at me? So what happened? He said, I went to a Jewish magician in Nisapur, where 8th Imam is buried. He said, I went to this Jewish magician in Nisapur. When I went to him, I said to him, there's this girl I'm enchanted by. I'm crazy about her. And I want her to be crazy about me. Listen, don't be surprised about the human being. The human being, if he wants something, he forgets Allah and he'll do anything to get that thing. He said, I went to him and I said, listen, what do I have to do to get that girl? How do I get her enchanted with me? He said, the Jewish magician looked at me and he said to me, you want to get her? I said, yes. He said, for 40 days, don't pray to Allah, don't fast, don't do anything religious. And I promise you, she will be enchanted when she sees your face. He says, for 40 days, I forgot about Allah. I didn't pray, I didn't fast. I just said, I want this person so badly that if it means that I have to lose everything to get her, then I will. 40 days passed. When they passed, he came back to the magician and said, listen, Mr. Magician, nothing's happened. As in, she's looking at me and there's absolutely no change in her. As in, I'm waiting for her to smile at least. There's nothing. He looked at me and he said to me, have you done anything religious? He said, no. He said, you've been praying? He said, no, not at all. He said, fasting? He said, no. He said, are you sure you've not done anything? He said, no, maybe just one thing. He said, what? He said, there was a stone in the middle of the street. And I removed it because I feared the person behind me might trip over and fall. He looked at him and he said, remain with that Lord, don't come to a magician. He said to him, what do you mean? He said, a Lord who's so merciful that you neglect him for 40 days, but he awards you because you removed one stone. Why would you want my mercy when you have a Lord like that? Unbelievable. Why would you want my mercy when your Lord saw you perform one good deed? You're asking me to look after the girl. Go pray to your Lord, he'll give you the girl. True? As in, sometimes you'll see the human being resorting to these means. They'll go to the magician. And when they go to the magician, why resort to these means? Look at your spiritual disease going to someone like this. He said to him, your Lord, you weren't even praying salah to him. All you did was remove a stone and he's that merciful. And you're asking from other than your Lord. Therefore, the Quran showed us that one of the diseases in society was those women who were blowing on the knots. And indeed, you find the effect of these women who blow on the knots, or these magicians and sorcerers, Can it have an effect on someone's marriage? Without a doubt, it can have a destructive effect. What do we mean? You see in the Quran, in chapter 2, verse 103, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that the origin of sorcery was already from the time of Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam. And once again, which nation was the one most prevalent in their sorcery? The Jewish nation. And until today, although we don't want to generalize on the pulpit, until today, the most famous magicians on this earth, if you go to the circuses and all of this, will always be the Jewish magician. You find from that time, in Sulaiman's nation, what happened? Read Surah 2, verse 103. What does it show us? You see Prophet Sulaiman, you know in his kingdom, he could control the jinn and the animals and the humans, isn't it? So what happened was, when he died, the Jews started making a rumor that Sulaiman's control of the jinns and the animals and the humans and the wind, all of it is sorcery and witchcraft. He's not really a prophet of God. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down the two angels. What's their names? Harut and Marut. Fantastic. Harut and Marut, the two angels were sent down. Surah 2 verse 103. Why were they sent down? They were sent down to nullify the effects of the magic which had begun to spread. What's interesting in that verse was what? These angels, what was their role? They made it clear to their people that we've come here as a trial from God. We've come here to remove the power of magic. A magic which is able to break up a relationship between a man and his wife. How? Sometimes in this world, you've seen a couple who you see them, Allah's given them wealth, Allah's given them health, Allah's given them everything. All of a sudden you hear divorce. You're like, what? They divorced. Yes, divorce. You go to the couple, and those who've been in these cases will know. You go to them and you say, are you divorced? Yes. Why? So you know, just don't get on with each other anymore. Yeah, but only a few weeks ago you were the best of friends. Or you told us how much you like each other. What happened? Now, what could be the causes? One cause could be, for example, that truly there's been an incompatibility between them. Marriage is not an E equals MC squared. There's a reason Allah allowed divorce. It could happen. But then sometimes a couple should beware that when they see themselves having problems for no reason, then they should beware that there may be someone close to them who has tried to put some sort of curse on their relationship. And this is a vital point. Because today when divorces are happening, you'll find some who, as soon as a couple come and they say we want a divorce, they'll look at them and say, okay, slip £50 under the table if you don't mind. I'll pick up 2 random witnesses from the road and we'll do a quick divorce for you. There are others who say, no, let us discuss you two's relationship. Then there's a third group. What do they say? There's a third group who make it very clear that, have you two ever thought that the fact Allah has given you so much will mean that there are some who are close to you, who are showing hatred towards your relationship? As in, I tell you, in this world, beware of those who are closest to you. Because the worst of those who are closest to you are whom? The worst of them are the envious. It's no surprise or coincidence that after وَمِن شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ, what's the next verse? وَمِن شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ إِذَا حَسَدٍ. And Ya Allah, I seek refuge from the envy of the envious. Do not be surprised if sometimes there have been marriages which lost their fuse simply because of what? They lost their spark because of the fact that someone had gone somewhere to put black magic on that relationship. I'm telling you, this is the human being. When the Quran tells you وَمِن شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ, the Quran is saying, listen, there are women out there, there are men even out there, they'll blow on the knots to destroy a relationship. In my years, I've seen couples who had the best relationship. All of a sudden, you hear there's a divorce. When you hear, both of them sometimes look at you and say, I don't know why. I don't know what's happened. As in, we were so close, then all of a sudden it went wrong. Sometimes it went wrong because of negligence from one side to the other. That's all right. It happens. Sometimes it goes wrong because one side's not honoring the rights of the other. It happens. But try your hardest to beware of those people who are putting a curse on your relationship. That there may be someone close to you who sees you happy with your husband or sees you happy with your wife. I tell you, they'll travel to Africa, they'll travel to different parts of the world, they'll sit in the middle of the village, in the middle of nowhere, they'll bring a shirt or a trouser or something from your body, and they'll place it there and say, this person ruined their life. It happens. As in, it's a reality when the Quran says, وَمِن شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ, and then the Quran says in Surah 2 verse 103, that the magic of the Jews was doing what? The magic of the Jews was causing shaitan to split a husband and a wife. When you have taken someone's daughter from their house, don't straight away think to yourself, you know what, I'm not happy in this relationship, that's it. Try and consider every option. Because we weren't told about this before. As I tell you, for many years, when it came to discussions on marriage, we weren't told that, listen, beware of those who put a spell. No one mentioned it. No one even looked at وَمِن شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ. But sometimes in life, when you see things going wrong and you're wondering, hold on a minute, we were so close and now this is going wrong, don't straight away say, okay, let's just divorce and walk out. No. First say, Ya Allah, if there has been something like this, then Ya Allah, I want to go and remove it. Are there people who can remove such a thing? Yes, there are. As in, there are a few dodgy ones you have to be careful of. We'll tell you, listen, give me £2,000 and I'll remove the spell. Those ones you got to be aware of. But then there are those who study the sciences of magic. Which sciences? Magic. Sheikh al-Baha'i said, Kimya, and Limya, and Himya, and Simya, and Rimya. These are 5 original sciences. And there are scholars in the world who have studied these sciences. Imam al-Sadiq, salawatullah wa salamu alayhi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Imam al-Sadiq himself. Imam al-Sadiq, someone came to him and said, oh Imam, I earned my money through magic. Because you know, sometimes today in a birthday party, you find someone brings a magician, isn't it? Even though Rasulullah said, whoever learns magic, whoever listens to a magician, whoever walks to a magician, whoever believes in a magician is a disbeliever in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do you know one of the only acts in Islam, one of the few acts in Islam which is punishable by death is sorcery. It's punishable by death, not by prison. Because it's one of the few acts which makes you wonder about who's really in charge of this world. It can make you wonder. You see someone with that much power and makes you wonder. You find Imam al-Sadiq, someone comes and says, I'm earning my money through magic. I sell magic, I spend it on magic. Oh Imam, I even went to Hajj through the money from magic. I earned money for my magic, I went to Hajj. Oh Imam, I have now done Tawbah. What is my role now? He looked at him and he said to him what? He said to him, open the knots of magic and do not tie the knots of sorcery. Open the knots of magic and do not tie the knots of sorcery. What's he trying to say to him? You have a role now. He said, what is it? He said, now there may be cases where people's lives are being ruined because of witchcraft, because of black magic, because of all of this voodoo that's being done. You have a role. What's your role? Your role is to open the knots and to not tie the knots. Open the knot means what? Means if someone you think has been affected by the magic, your role, because you know magic very well, is to remove that magic. Because today in our communities, I guarantee you, there are husbands and wives who split because of someone putting a curse on them. That husband and wife could have reflected and could have gone to a scholar of magic, like Imam al-Sadiq told him. Imam al-Sadiq said to him, go to the scholars. You have a role that you should be the one who unties the knots of magic. In other words, what do we find? We find that Ahlul Bayt make it clear that is not an illusion that magic affects your life. No, there is a reality that a person who knows the ultimate sciences of magic can definitely affect the life of the human being. However, when we look in the Quran, we also find that there is an illusory type of magic. When we look in the Quran, we find there's an illusory type of magic. What is that? When Moses dealt with the magicians, if Moses' miracle is magic and the magicians had magic, did they both have real magic? It's a vital point, because we know a prophet of God, his miracle is related to his time, isn't it? So Jesus' miracle was related to medicine. You would raise the dead and make them alive. That was Jesus' miracle, because the doctor can't raise the dead and make someone alive. So when Jesus raised the dead and make them alive, that was a miracle. Moses' miracle, there were many magicians in Pharaoh's court. These magicians would have magic shows day and night. You know what their magic show would be? You put down the stick, it looks like a snake. Question, was it a snake? Because if it was, then Moses' magic was of no point. Because the magician will say, listen, I've got a snake, you've got a snake. The Quran highlighted to us, there is a magic which if learned properly is real. And then there's a magic which is just illusion boggling the eyes of the human being. Because when Pharaoh goes to Moses, he says, put down your stick first. Moses looks at the magicians, he says, you go ahead and put down yours. They said, no, you put yours. He said, no, go ahead. They put down their stick and the whole crowd went, wow. The whole crowd was in disbelief. Why? Because the stick was like this. Prophet Musa alayhi salam put down his stick. It was actually a snake which came and ate their stick. At this moment, the magicians went down in sujood to Musa, isn't it? They went down and they said, now we believe in the Lord of Musa and Harun. We believe in the Lord of Musa and Harun. They asked them why. They said, because our stick was full of mercury. And if you place mercury in the right shape, towards the right angle, it will look like there is movement because of the heat that it faces. Whereas Musa definitely has a miracle because his stick became a snake that has annihilated our magic. If Musa has this miracle, then we bow down to the Lord of Musa who gave him this miracle. What do you find? That showed us that this second type of magic is an illusion. When someone comes to you today and says to you that, you know what, for example, I saw this person perform the most unbelievable trick. Yes, there's no doubt that there is someone who can show illusion to the eyes of the human being. They know how to use the right substances, the right products, and it can be an illusion. But is the reality as effective as the real magic? No, it's not. Someone says, I was walking down Oxford Street one day and a Sikh brother came up to me. See, sometimes you see a Sikh person, I don't know what they call him, yogi or yoga, something like this. This Sikh person comes up to you, he says to you, I know when you were born. You say to him, what do you mean you know when I was born? He says, I know when you were born. Can I have a minute of your time? You say, okay, go ahead. He says, for example, in our case, he'll say, for example, you're born on this date, and you're looking at him, you're like, how does he know when I'm born? And then he says to you how many brothers and sisters you have. Can this happen? Yes, you can. A person can delve into the world of the unseen, where the unseen becomes seen to his soul. However, the danger is that the more he delves into there, whether he starts believing more in Allah or less in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I remember in the Safavid Empire, the Shah of the Safavids, the Christians sent him a letter. They said to him, you believe Islam is the religion of God? He said, yes. They said, we'll send one of our Christian ambassadors. If you can defeat him, then we'll come to Islam. But if he defeats you, then we'll come to Islam. You have to come to Christianity. So what happened was, that Christian ambassador came. The Christian leader had said to the Shah of the Safavids, he had said to him, do you know what's so great about our Christian ambassador? Whatever you have in your fist, he is able to tell you it straight away. So many Muslims were wondering, thinking, oh my God, you know, this person, if I put now something like a pen in my fist, straight away is like pen. If I put, for example, let's say, for example, a biscuit. If I put, for example, a button. Who did they get? They got Fayyad Kashani, the great scholar. They bought him and they said to him that we need your help. These Christians have bought a man and no one can defeat this man. And many Muslims are thinking of reverting towards Christianity. So what shall we do? He said, where is this man? He said, there he is. He said, very well, what is it that he can do? You see, the human can reach that level. There's no doubt. So they said to him, well, you know what he can do? Whatever's in your fist, he can tell you straight away. He said, yes? He said, yes. He said, Christian man, whatever's in my fist, you can tell me? He said, yes. He went away for a bit. He came back. He said, tell me, what do I have in my fist now? The Christian man looked. He started moving his head like this. At this moment, Fayyad Kashani looked at him. He said, what's wrong? You don't know what the answer is? He goes, no, I do know what the answer is. I'm just wondering, where did you get a piece of the dust of paradise from? Mullah Faith Kashani had put the dust of Karbala in his fist. Where did you get the dust of paradise from? And straight away when Mullah Faith Kashani removed his hand, he said, that's the dust of Karbala. Now that you know it's the dust of Karbala, you have to come towards the religion of Islam. This Christian man has this knowledge, there's no doubt. But whether that knowledge makes you arrogant or humble differs from person to person. There are those who have these knowledges of the world of the jinn, of the world of magic, but it keeps them humble. There are those who use it and it eventually destroys them. Someone moves on and asks, how about the world of astronomy? Because today there are those who also delve into the unseen. Not just in the world of magic, but in the world of astronomy. As in, am I allowed to read my stars according to Islam? Does this have a value? Because we know very well here that each and every one of us in this hall at one time or another has had a glimpse at his star sign, isn't it? As in, let's not beat around the bush. If you're a Libra like me, the best of star signs, without a doubt. Anyone who's a Libra, we are the best of people, the most honorable, generous, just human beings you will ever find. Then I reward you. You should be commended for being a Libra. Then you can be other star signs which are horrific for the human being. So a person asks that should we go and check or no? If you believe that the stars are the ultimate judges of your future, then this is forbidden in Islam. If you believe the person telling you about the stars is a person who is telling you a definite piece of knowledge, again, that's not allowed. If, however, you believe there's a study of the science of the stars, and that by the permission and by the structure of Allah's universe, there will be effects with the permission of Allah, there is no problem there whatsoever. As in, the studying of the stars is something Islamic. There is no harm. You're allowed to study the structure of the stars. How many of you have been told when you wanted to get married and you're booking the dates in the mosque, don't get married on the Scorpion night, isn't it? There is a particular study to the stars. But in the school of Ahlul Bayt, you don't rely on it as an infallible study. No, it's a study where knowledge can be obtained, but ultimately knowledge with Allah. Now I remember Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen going to the battle of Nahrawan. On the way to the battle, one of his soldiers said, let's not go, we're not going to win. He said, why? He said, I'm an astronomer and I'm looking at the stars and I don't think we can win. Imam Ali says, if a person says something like that, then they have denied the Quran, for only Allah gives victory in the Quran, isn't it? You can't turn around and say, according to the stars, this is what's going to happen. You can say, according to the stars, Allah may result in this happening. But you can't turn around with an ultimate confidence. You see, why is magic and all of this looked down upon? Because it may lead you to having tawakkul in other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You start placing your trust in other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, when we understand all of these points, someone raises the question, then how is it that I protect myself? If now someone has put a curse on my marriage, if someone's even put a curse on me that I'm single, as in many times you receive emails from sisters in the community, from brothers in the community who say, we try and get married, it just doesn't happen. We want to get married, it just doesn't happen. And I tell you and I repeat to you, when people in the community see you are good looking, or they see you're healthy, or they see you're wealthy, or they see you're educated, one of these is the cause of them being envious. And do not be surprised that sometimes someone's put the worst of magical curses on you, because you may have neglected what Allah gave you to use to make sure they don't attack you. What do I mean? Ahlul Bayt tell us, make sure you do the following so that magic does not affect you. What should you do? Number 1, Surah Al-Falaq, no doubt. Number 2, Surah An-Nas. Number 3, the wearing of a ring on your right hand. Look at your hands for 1 second, O Shia of Al-Muhammad, O lovers of Imam Al-Husayn, and ask yourself, why don't you have a ring on your right hand? Why? Was it that difficult to get a Fayruz, or a Dur al-Najaf, or an Aqiq? That difficult? For goodness sake, we end up buying a jacket which is of no value to us in this world. And then a ring, which Al-Muhammad tell us protects you from envy, protects you from the evil eye. Forget all of these. Al-Muhammad say one of the 5 signs of a mu'min is a ring in his right hand. Why? Why this negligence with wearing a ring? Fighting over the most petty things in our life? I should wear this, I should have this, I should wear a ring. Allah said there are certain stones, like the Fayruza, the turquoise stone, like the Dur al-Najaf, the clear white stone, like the Aqiq, which may be the pitch red stone. There are stones protecting you. And what do you end up wearing? I'm wearing a platinum ice. Or something, I'm diamond, I'm wearing, I don't know, something bling bling and all of these things. You're looking at all of this, you're like, okay, these things, alhamdulillah, good for you. It makes you happy for a couple of days in your life. But something which is going to protect you in life, protect you from the people, is the ring on your right hand. Wear these rings. Ahlul Bayt tell us you wear in this finger, and you wear in this finger, but you don't wear in the middle finger or this finger or that finger. These three fingers you don't wear a ring in. The men, these three fingers, you do not wear a ring. Because sometimes you find some people, the middle finger, they'll wear a ring in. No, that's related to a particular group of people who it's better that, you know, we don't follow their action and what they used to do when they used to wear the ring. Otherwise, for us, you wear in this finger and you wear in this finger. That's a protector from the envy, protector from the evil eye, protector from those people who have put this magic on you. Number 4. You pay sadaqah every day before you leave your house. Pay charity. Even if it's 1p, 2p, 1 pound, 5 pound, whatever it is, put some charity into, say, Ya Allah, this is charity I give towards the poor. Ya Allah, alleviate any trouble. Further than that, you can wear, for example, a ta'weedh. Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, when Imam al-Hasan, Imam al-Husayn were born, there was a ta'weedh that was made for them. You find, for example, what he said, Bismillah, 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 La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Then after that, he recited the verses of Musa's victory against Pharaoh's magicians. So that what? So that the magic doesn't affect me. Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib doesn't mince his words. When he tells you recite the verses of Musa and the magic, it's because he's saying, listen, magic is a reality. Allah doesn't mention 51 times for no reason. So recite the verses of Musa so that this magic doesn't affect you. All of these are to be used as what? They are all a ta'weedh against the magic. And that's why the Quran went on to say, وَمِن شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ وَمِن شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ إِذَا حَسَدٍ. Without a doubt, what is the result of this magic? Is that your envy continues against your fellow human beings. Nothing devours Iman, nothing destroys Iman like hasad. Isn't that true? You will not find anything which destroys Iman like hasad. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. A second in honor of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen. A third with your loudest voices in honor of the Imam of our time. A fourth in honor of Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam. And a fifth in honor of Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. There is nothing which devours our faith like hasad. And you know what Ahlul Bayt tell us about hasad, about envy? Ahlul Bayt tell us that they feel sorry for someone who has envy. Because first you hurt yourself, then you hurt the intended target. Iblis, did he hurt himself first or Adam? Himself. His envy was against Adam. But at the end, who did he hurt? He hurt himself. And that's why Ahlul Bayt say, you want to see the person who's envious? When they see you, they're happy. When you're not there, they backbite you. And when you are in trouble, they become more happy because you've been affected by trouble. Sometimes in life you find these envious people who are around you. Try and beware of the envious when they are around you. These people have a sick disease within them. And how do they ensure that this disease is enacted? They ensure that they focus all the energy of their eye towards you. As in, why would someone be envious of you? It's because they see that Allah has given you so much in life in a certain area. They focus the energy of their eye negatively on you. That's why Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen says, Al-Ainu haqqun. The evil eye is a reality. We said in the world of the unseen, what happens? Magic can happen, and the evil eye, you direct your energy negatively towards someone, believe me, it can destroy that person. That's why Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, if Ismail and Ishaq were born, Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, you would find that he would recite a dua, Ya Allah, keep away the evil eyes of the hasad, of the people of hasad from Ismail and from Ishaq. And that's why even when Hassan and Husayn were born, the Holy Prophet would recite, Oh Allah, keep away the evil eyes from Hassan and Husayn. As in truly dua is a means, sadaqah is a means, our ring is a means. Because sometimes in life there are people, Allah has gifted them so much that people take out their envy on these personalities. And that's why I'm not surprised in Surah 4 verse 54, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَمْ يَحْسُدُونَ النَّاسَ عَلَى مَا آتَاهُمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ فَقَدْ آتَيْنَا آلِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ what? الْكِتَابِ وَالْحِكْمَةِ وَآتَيْنَاهُمْ مُلْكًا عَظِيمًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Surah 4 verse 54, He says, do they envy our people because of what we gave them? Yes, we gave the family of Abraham, we gave them the book, we gave them wisdom, and we gave them a great kingdom. It's as if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was saying, Al-Ibrahim, from their origin, there are people who will envy them. Why will the people envy them? Because I gave the kitab to the line of Ibrahim. Isn't the Quran in the line of Ibrahim? Did it not come to the son of Ismail, the Holy Prophet? I gave them wisdom as well. Sometimes having the book and having the wisdom causes people to be envious towards you, envious towards your position. That's why Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, when they took his caliphate away, what was their reasoning? They said, because how could Al-Ibrahim, Bani Hashim, how could they have nubuwwah and khilafah? How? Muhammad is already a prophet and now Ali gets the caliphate? Why? Why not me? Haven't I been with the Prophet Muhammad all these years? Haven't I been close to him? Why is it that Ali ibn Abi Talib should get caliphate? Ibn Abbas asks the second Khalifa, why didn't you give the caliphate to Ali ibn Abi Talib? One answer was, because Ali ibn Abi Talib is hated by the Arabs, for he killed many of their leaders at Badr and Uhud. But the other answer he gave was a clear answer of envy. He said, we could not see how nubuwwah and khilafah can be given to one family. The Quran said what? أَمْ يَحْسُدُونَ النَّاسَ عَلَى مَا آتَاهُمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. They have hasad towards what Allah gave. فَقَدْ آتَيْنَا آلِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ. It's no surprise in salah. What do people say? Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله كما صليت وباركت على إبراهيم وآله. Because in the same way Allah chose to put leadership in Ibrahim's family, He also said leadership will remain in Muhammad's family. Because sometimes someone comes to you today and says, you Shia, you follow this family, you focus too much on the family. Why? This is monarchy, this is tribalism. I say, if you've got a problem with monarchy and tribalism, then it seems you never had a problem when your Lord put nubuwwah in Ibrahim's line. Did your Lord think it was wrong to choose Al Ibrahim when He said, Inna Allah astafa Adam, Nuh, Al Ibrahim, Al Imran? There are certain families Allah has decided are the best families to look after my message. Their personalities are the best personalities. The way they act is the best of actions. If you are not envious of Al Ibrahim, Allah chose them, then why be envious of Al Muhammad? In the same way Allah put nubuwwah in Al Ibrahim, could He not put Imam and Al Muhammad? In Salah, if I send my blessings on Al Ibrahim, don't I send my blessings on Muhammad and Al Muhammad? But unfortunately the Ummah of Muhammad, one day they are all praising him, 50 years later, they are massacring his children on the plains of Karbala. One child after another, one child after another. You saw Aoun lying on the ground and Muhammad, Qasim ibn al-Hasan on the other side, Abu Fadl al-Abbas without his hands by the Furat. One child after another. And there was one particular son which they savagely attacked on the 10th of Muharram. The beloved apple of the eye of Abi Abdullah, Ali al-Akbar. The relationship was the most beautiful relationship, Aba Abdullah and Ali al-Akbar. And that's why the way he behaved with Ali al-Akbar, you will not see him behaving with anyone else on the 10th of Muharram. As in, I promise you, there are certain moments with Ali al-Akbar where when you look at the way Aba Abdullah was with him, there are certain moments which show a father-son relationship. All of us here, alhamdulillah, Allah has given us fathers. How close are you to your father? Can you ever imagine in your life your father is about to be butchered by people? What would you feel at that moment? Wouldn't you want to go out and defend your father? And that's why you find Aba Abdullah knew there's going to be a moment when Ali is going to come to him. Aba Abdullah used to love him. Why? The first reason he used to love him was he was the closest in his looks, in his akhlaq and his mindset to Rasulullah, isn't it? Didn't Imam al-Husayn say that the man who's come out now is the closest to Rasulullah in his khalq, in his khulq and in his mantiq? You know, Ali al-Akbar, they used to praise him when he was a child, a young boy. Because what he used to do, he used to come to his mother Layla. And you know, for Layla, this is a difficult night. You know, for a mother at Karbala to see her son in his final moments. You know, when he was younger, he would come to his mother. He say, mother, please let there be smoke coming out of the chimney. She would say to him, why? He said, because in case there's a poor person walking past and he's hungry, he can come and eat in our house. I say to him, oh Ali, which hospitality did you receive on the 10th of Muharram? On that morning of the 10th, he went to recite the adhan next to his father, Aba Abdullah. His father would hear the adhan one final time. Sukaina would hear her brother's voice one final time. He recited the adhan. Then when the whole of the companions had been killed, it was now the turn of Bani Hashim. When any companion came to him, Abu Abdullah would say to him, do not worry, you don't have to fight, go home. But when Ali al-Akbar came, Abu Abdullah didn't even tell him, do not worry. He never had the strength to tell his son. Ali al-Akbar came to me and said, oh my father, let me be the first to go out and defend you. The first of Al-Muhammad on the 10th of Muharram, Ali al-Akbar. He came to his father, he said, Father, please let me go out and defend you. As soon as he said that, his father hugged him. And they began to cry and cry. I wonder how difficult is it for a father to bid farewell to his son, but how difficult is it for a son to bid farewell to his father? They began to cry and cry. I've read a hadith which says Aba Abdullah fell unconscious. Aba Abdullah fell unconscious, my dear brothers and sisters. They cried that much for his son. Then Ali al-Akbar, he was riding his horse. Aba Abdullah said, Ali, go to your auntie Zainab. Ali, bid farewell to your auntie Zainab, bid farewell to your mother. He went, he bid farewell to his auntie Zainab, he bid farewell to his mother. You know, your tears will speak on the day of judgment. Ayatollah al-Naini, you know what he narrates? He narrates, I recited the Masa'ib of Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam. He said, that night in my dream, I saw Aba Abdullah with arrows surrounding his whole body. Arrows everywhere. He said the next day I recited his Masa'ib again. This time when I saw him in the dream, he only had 2 arrows on his body. I said to him, Ya Aba Abdullah, yesterday I saw you with so many arrows. Today I see only 2. He said, yes. He said, when my Shia cry, they remove all the arrows from my body. But there are 2 arrows that never leave me. The arrow which hit Abbas and the arrow which hit Ali. He bid farewell to his auntie, towards his mother. Then he went towards the horse. As he was leaving, Aba Abdullah called him. He said, Ali, come back to me. He said to him, why? He said, I want to bid you farewell. He said to him, but my father, you already bid me farewell. He said, Ali, you don't know how it feels for a father to bid farewell to his son. He called Ali al-Akbar towards him. He embraced him one final time. Ali al-Akbar, when he went out towards the battlefield, the narrations, they mention to us that he gave the most valiant of performances. A complete annihilation of the opposition, 120 of them killed. Layla, his mother, was in the tent. She couldn't tell how well he was doing. The only way she could tell how well he was doing was which way? She would look at the facial expression of Imam al-Husayn. If she saw Imam al-Husayn smiling, she knew her son was doing well. But if she saw Imam al-Husayn without a smile, she knew there was a problem. All of a sudden, she saw the smile leave the face of Abu Abdullah. She called out, Ya Abu Abdullah, tell me what's happening with my son. He said to her, Layla, I see a soldier coming towards your son and he's about to strike your son. But then he said to her, Layla, recite the dua of a mother, because Allah never rejects the dua of a mother when she reads it. So she recited the following dua: Oh Allah, you are the one who returned Yusuf back to Yaqub. Oh Allah, you are the one who returned Ismail back to Hajar. Oh Allah, return my Ali back to me. Ali al-Akbar returned back to his mother. He embraced his mother. He began to cry. Then he went to his father. He looked at his father. Oh, my father, are you proud of me? He said, yes, I am. He said, my father, the heat of Karbala is killing me. His father embraced him. His father began to cry. Then his father looked at him. He said, my father, the thirst is killing me. His father took out his tongue. He placed it on the tongue. You know what Ali said to Imam al-Husayn? Oh, my father, your tongue is drier than mine. Ya Abu Abdullah. At this moment, Imam al-Husayn said to him, Ali, go back on the battlefield. In a few moments, your grandfather, Rasulullah, will quench your thirst from the pool of Kawthar. He went out back on the battlefield. May Allah give you patience. May Allah give you patience, Ya Sahib al-Zaman. He went out on the battlefield. All of a sudden he fell. When he was struck, he fell on the front of his horse. His horse started going one way, then the other. And then it went towards the army of Umar bin Sa'ad. They began to strike him when he fell on the ground. Now, brothers and sisters, I want you to see what Abu Abdullah felt in these moments. The first thing, when Abu Abdullah left the tent, he went in the wrong direction. Sukaina called out, Father, why are you going in the wrong direction? Ali is over there. He said, Sukaina, don't blame me. The killing of your brother has confused and blinded your father. Then there's a narration which states that he walked towards him, he never ran. They said to him, why aren't you running? He replied, I don't have the strength to run to him. Then when he came towards him, he heard Ali al-Akbar call out, Assalamu alayka ya Abu Abdullah. But he called out only with one hand, not with two. When he got closer to him, he wondered, why is Ali calling out with one hand, not with two? He saw the dagger in the chest of Ali. The poets say he turned around towards Najaf and he said, oh my father Ali ibn Abi Talib, you are the man who lifted the gate of Khaybar, but you never had to lift a spear from the chest of your son. I will narrate to you this as the final line. When he saw Ali al-Akbar lying on the ground, he saw him smile, then he saw him cry. He said to him, my son Ali, I see you smile and I see you cry. Why do you smile? Why do you cry? He said, my father, I smile because I see my grandfather Rasulullah walking towards me. Then he looked at him and he said to him, my son, why do you cry? He said, because I see my grandmother Fatima al-Zahra in front of me. But why do you cry? He said, for every tear that you shed, I see her slapping herself in front of me.